3 years ago, I started my Ironman in the humble village of Lumbridge. I didn't know what to expect or where this journey would take me, but today I look to conquer the toughest challenge left, the Inferno. As a former RS3 player, the Inferno does not line up well with the natural way I play the game. The prayers are all on animation rather than when the projectile hits you, like in RS3, making the Inferno a predictive battle rather than a reactive one. I've been putting this off for the better part of an entire year, and I think part of the reason is that if I don't do the Inferno, I always have the excuse in my back pocket that I can tell myself, if I just put in the time, I'll get it. But the second I actually try, that excuse no longer works. But today, there are no more excuses. Let's jump right into the Inferno. This is my gear setup that I've built up over the years. Each item has its purpose, but there's a couple main ones I want to talk about. First off, we got the Blood Ancient Scepter, which I got last time from Verdorvis, allowing me to overheal up to 108 HP. It's going to be super nice for the later waves. Alongside that, I have a plus 19% magic bonus with Ancients. That'll be nice for one-shotting Nibblers, as my Ice Barrage is going to max up to 35. In terms of range gear, I decided to go with Crystal over Arma due to its high range defense, which is one of the more important stats in the Inferno, and also its better prayer bonus. Speaking of prayer bonus, I have the Ring of the Gods, which I think is almost a de facto required item for First Capers due to its +8 prayer bonus and its a Holy Wrench effect, which gives you a +1 on every single restore dose you take. I'm starting off with Amethyst arrows and Amethyst darts, but once I start consistently getting to wave 50 or 60, we will move on to Dragon ammunition. Just don't want to waste it early on. Overall, I think I have a good enough gear setup to get through this Inferno. Background-wise, I do have some Zuck experience with doing 5 Infernos on Shattered Relics and Trailblazer Reloaded. However, with how souped up my character was, I don't think that was too representative, and it's not going to let me one-shot the Inferno, especially the waves, which are going to be considerably more difficult. But I do think it'll be really good because I had so much practice following the Zuck shield that I'm not worried about that in the slightest, and I won't have that first Zuck experience where they get there and then they immediately get hit a 115 by Zuck. So once I get there, I'll be very close to the cape. Skill-wise, I do have two main concerns. I do not know how to one-tick alternate, at least consistently. I can get it for a couple ticks, but then it eventually goes away, or I lose a Praetos, so I'm not too looking forward to doing that, but I can lazy flick, and I'm hoping that lazy flicking is enough to get through the Inferno. And the second thing is I get very nervous when doing things for the first time. I remember I went for my first 350 and I was basically shitting myself. My heart was pounding, my hands were sweating, and it wasn't that difficult. And once I did it once, it never felt that again. And just doing something new always makes me feel very nervous. But if I can conquer those two things, we will be just fine. The super restores have been made. I've got all the supplies I'm going to need for probably 100 attempts. For my first couple attempts, my main goal is going to be just getting the blobs, not getting the blobs, sounds like wave 4, but figuring out blobs, figuring out melees, the safe spots, the traps. I'm not necessarily think I'm going to get a completion even in my first 5 attempts or 10 attempts. So I don't think there's a point of trying to do that. I just want to experience the waves, see what I learn across the time. First time coming down. So this is the first blob, and I want to kill it from the south side of the pillar. That way, when the minions spawn, only the ranger can hit me, as the melee area is blocked by the ranger, and the major is trapped behind the pillar by that ranger. I can then blood barrage back HP if needed, otherwise just ice barrage him for slightly more damage. Not too shabby. This method is going to be key to gaining back HP at the end of waves, and an important skill to get down for later, and make it a 0 damage experience. Alright, the double blob wave. These waves are a first caper's nightmare because tanking 1 blob is usually fine, but if you're tanking 2, it can be death within a couple hits. I haven't mastered them yet, but it is my first goal. They attack on a 6-tick cycle, choosing their attack 3 ticks before. So if I have range prey up on tick 3, on tick 6 they will attack with mage. This necessitates swapping between the two prayers at the right time. I'm using the method from Addycom's First Cape Friday videos, where he varies his count based on distance. If you're right near the blob, count to 2 after it hits you, then you swap your prayers. If you're mid-range, you count to 1, and then if you're really far away, you swap as soon as it hits you. I suggest playing around with blobs at varying distance until you understand how to take 0 damage from them when they're alone, and then you'll be set. First double blob wave completed. Didn't die on wave 7. Meleeers are the next NPC, and like all other NPCs in the Inferno, they have a special ability beyond their base attacks. The Meleeer will dig at your current location if they haven't been able to hit you in the last 30 or so seconds. This means that you can have a wave perfectly solved, only one thing can hit you at a time, but then boom, they say fuck you and mess up the safe spot. I think I'll struggle with these the most because stuff like corner trapping and prayer offsetting are not things I'm good at, but we will see if I can get better at those. Up to wave 16 now, and I can show off the corner trap. Because NPCs try to move east-west before going north-south, if you are exactly one corner tile away and the east-west direction is blocked, the NPC will not move, and instead it'll be trapped there. This is going to be very big for killing meleeers without them killing me, and with getting to the double melee wave, that means I've made it to my first ranger. Well, I think I lied earlier. Rangers don't have a special ability, actually the only NPC in the Inferno to not have one, but to compensate for that, they hit fucking hard. A max hit of 46 and very accurate. You don't want to take too many off-prayer hits or you will die very quickly. Luckily, the first 3 ranger waves are all free because the bats can be protected from range as well. Wave 25, and this is where I can really start taking some damage that isn't from blobs, as both a ranger and a meleeer will spawn every wave. Really have to learn how to isolate them. That was a dumb death, but got to wave 31. I think I need to get better at lazy flicking or I'll keep dying to that. Trying to be too cute. Couple troll deaths at wave 22 and 15, trying to just learn blobs better and experiment. But we're back and have set a new personal best at wave 32. Let's see if we can get all the way to majors at wave 35. Shouldn't be too bad. The first major has spawned, and with it being wave 35, we won't get any more ranger spawns until all the way at wave 50. So for now, I'm going to start waves with magic prey on. Majors also have a special ability. They have a 1 in 10 chance of reviving an NPC that has been previously killed this way. Only caveat is that they come back at half HP and can only be revived once. Sometimes respawns can be helpful for good blood barrage HP, but typically they mess up your stacks and you want to isolate the major and bring them down as quick as possible to minimize respawns. Also, the major is deadly as it can 2-bang you from full HP. Wave 41, and I have my first 1-tick alternating stack. When you swap between range and mage every tick, it's as if the blob doesn't exist, as you'll always have the correct prayer up. With the mage being in a 4-tick attack cycle, as long as you start the alternation on the correct tick, then you will also block all the mage hits as well. It's nerve-wracking to do, but boy does it feel good when you get it right. Okay, the major is down. I survived, wasn't expecting that. Let's see how far we can push this. Oh, the major can still see me from there. Huh. Was not expecting that. At least I learned something new with that death. It's a good death. It hurts, but it's a good death. And I can take that into future runs. For 4 attempts, this is going better than expected. Okay, we're back at wave 45, and this time I got a free spawn, and it solved for me on spawn. I'm not sure exactly what to do on the other 45 I had, but I'm sure I'll have to figure that out before I get the cape, otherwise I'm just going to keep dying in the 40s. This time I have 2 options. I can either nuke the melee down and kill the major while staying behind the pillar, or I can kill the major while letting the melee hit me every once in a while to prevent it from digging. I chose the latter. You really don't want it to dig here because then you'll either have to tank the melee of the mage or the blob and the mage. Well, I ran into a similar spawn quickly, very next wave, and I have no idea how to isolate. Once the melee digs is easy, but until then, I guess I flick poorly. Got myself a west side stack of a blob and a major, which means assuming I can 1-tick alternate perfectly, I should take 0 damage. I tend to be able to do this for a little bit of time, but as it goes on and on and on, I'll miss a tick here, and then I'll take a hit, and then all hell breaks loose, and next thing you know, I'm dead. I need to get better at this to get through the Inferno. You're either DPSing down waves or prayer swapping correctly, and with my gear, I think prayer swapping might be the better call. Looking back at this death, I think the biggest thing that I learned is that once I make a mistake and go behind a pillar, I gotta take 10 seconds. I gotta recenter myself, take a deep breath, let the blob go through its animation, and then I can go back out there. As long as the deaths and attempts are productive, I'm actually really happy. I'm having so much fun with this content right now, and it feels great to push myself, and I can't wait to get to higher and higher and higher waves. I didn't have the high enough level. Oh, that's the most frustrating I've been yet. One thing I've noticed is that I'm horrible at putting the crystal body on, and it's just costing me HP in early waves, which leads to me getting tilted. I'll spend a minute on a wave and look and see I have a Virtus body on. Isn't that great? I was one tick slow on this corner trap. If I got to the corner of the pillar quicker, the ranger would have been trapped and I could have killed the meleeer isolated. Instead, I just tanked the mobs, looking very poorly with my freaking Virtus rope top on. Here it is, my first wave 50. Alongside that, a couple things are going to change. First off, I'm going to start at the north green tile. This is behind a pillar, so there is a minimal chance that I can be wombo comboed on spawn. This is called the Calvino tile. I'm now going to keep the crystal body on when catching nibblers as well, and also have the crystal shield equipped, maximizing the range defense, as each wave there is a chance to tank a range hit at the start of the wave due to having Mage Prey on. The early 50s won't be too bad, but once a blob comes into the mix, that'll be the next wall. One perk of this tile is that I'm able to reach most of the nibblers behind the pillar, making cleanup easy and damage free. Alrighty, I got my first mage range stack. The goal here is to get them to attack on different ticks. One easy way to do it is standing on the middle tile of the pillar, praying against the back NPC, attacking it, dragging your character out. This makes the far NPC see you first, and then as soon as it attacks you, you swap to the other style, in this case mage. Rinse repeat until one of them is dead. I would call being able to do this a mandatory skill for getting your Inferno cape. As I'm attacking the ranger, I want to test to see if the blowpipe also works with this method to minimize the amount of time spent in this cycle. That didn't work. Note to self, do not blowpipe stacks. Swap to the major after one cycle instead with a T-bow. Mage range stack, my arch nemesis. We meet again. I'm not sure if there's a good non-Inferno way to practice this stack, but I think I just gotta keep sending it until I get it. It'll happen. Flinching is a possibility, but I don't think I have the patience nor the prayer for that. Mage range stack 2, Waswere 0. I will win one soon. It was a good first day of attempts. Got myself back-to-back 50 runs at the end there, and I think it's taught me two things. One, this isn't going to be easy. I'm not going to be able to just glance my way to the higher waves and get it on my first try. But on the other side, it did show me that it is possible, because I went from like really struggling on the early waves to now the early waves feel really easy. So I think I can repeat that process just with higher waves, and eventually I'll get to a point where getting to triples doesn't feel like such a insurmountable task. It's been 91 minutes and I reached my goal of getting to wave 60. Guess the rest of the day is just focusing on getting to triples. My only problem is that I have a major range west stack and I have absolutely no idea how to off-tick them, so I'm calling in the reinforcements to tell me what I need to do. Alright, so the play here, we figured it out. You have to corner trap the mage, so what I'm going to do is I'm standing on this tile. Mage will follow me down, and I'm going to run to this tile, and I'm going to kill the ranger. The mage can't do anything, and now I can just kill the ranger, blood barrage myself up a little bit, get myself up, and then as soon as it dies, just swap to mage, go back to safety. It's like these sort of traps are what I need to get better at, because that way I'll only use 3 brews on my way to wave 60 instead of 5. And then you just pray mage, go back to safety. It respawned a blob here, so I'm going to come down on this side. And it respawned a ranger right after. So now everything's kind of trapped like normal. I can kill the major, and then I can deal with the range blob stack. You know how I mentioned nerves? Well, that was nerves. Wave 61 started and my mind went blank. Next thing you know, I'm dead and getting some tackle as a reward. It's been a bit since I reached wave 50, 7 total attempts between them, and it's been 10 total attempts since I completed a wave in the 60s. It's been a day and a half of tilting, and I'm hoping it's behind me, and I think I got a new lease on this grind. The one big thing that I stopped doing was stop trying to be perfect. If you have blood barrageable NPCs, don't try to flick, just tank the off hits. As long as there's only one NPC and the NPC is melee or below, Vigor, blowpipe specs, and brews, more than enough to get through it. I'm not good enough to try to conserve supplies for later yet. I need more later experience first. Wave 54, but at least the rust is off. A little mad because the wave was easily solvable without trying to flick the major and the ranger. All I needed to do was go on the west side of the pillar. I just gotta keep learning, and next thing you know, I won't be a cheese caper. Back up to wave 60, first time getting there in 12 attempts. I am jazzed. We don't talk about attempt 26. It has been lost to time. I was angry enough to delete the recording. Pillar health is a real problem, though. Going to need some lucky nibbler hits for it to survive all the way until I need it. It always seems to take a pounding on these high waves. Okay, I learned something new with this wave. When the major is coming from the southwest, I need to wait for it to get covered behind the pillar. Otherwise, when I go to the nibbler tile, the major will still be able to see me. Panicking about low HP pillar has been my death sentence in the 60s now, so better early pillar wave management is going to be necessary for me to get this cape. Alrighty, looks like I have made it to triples. Well, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I got 2 rangers to kill and then 2 majors, but shouldn't be a problem. The only downside is I am really low on supplies. I got 3 restores, 2 brews, and I'm very mad at myself because at the start of this run, I brought 1 less restore and brought an angler by accident, which means I would have almost 4 restores if I were smart. But we can put on range here and hope for the best. For triple Jads, I attempted to stand north of the southwest tile of the Jad. The point of this is that if I ever have 2 healers slapping me, I can take a step backwards and I will always be able to corner trap one of them, meaning only one can reach me. My play for these waves is to audibly say the prayer, that way I'm aware of where in the cycle I am, and at maximum, do 1 action per prayer. Unfortunately, one of the very first prayer swaps, the nerves got the best of me, and I took a hit. Didn't die, and didn't panic, and I just kept flicking and brewing as needed. Eventually, I got the triple down and got it to double Jads, and double isn't too bad as I've had lots of practice at the second Jad challenge to prepare me. And once you get to single Jads, it's all about getting back up to full HP and getting through the fight. After 2 hours of grueling PVM, I better not die to a single Jad. Well, the good news is that I made it through triple Jads on the first try. The bad news is that it ate 2 of my brews from that hit and 3 of my restores for having to get my stats back up, leaving me with 2 restore doses and my current prayer points to get through Zuck. I don't think it's impossible to get the cape from here, but it's going to be a tough ask. I'm going to have to kill the ranger quickly as I can only heal from blowpipe specs. After that, I need to kill Jad before my prayer runs out, and then deal with the healers without taking more than my remaining HP. If I'm somehow able to do all of that, I then need to DPS Zuck down before the second set spawns. Otherwise, they will kill me without prayer.
Well, I got through Jad very clean, haven't taken any damage by accident, but I'm about to run out of prayer. So it's going to be game over very soon here, but if I can proc healers, that'll be sweet. Not too shabby. I'll take it. 560 HP after healers.
With my first Zuck attempted, I can feel the cape being so close. I had one yellow click on healers, which made me take a 15 from the Zuck attack, but I'm so happy with how that turned out. Next time I face Zuck with supplies, I get it.
My T-bow just fucking hit. Oh my god, I did it! I beat the Inferno. Oh, there's no way. Oh my god. I can't believe I actually did it. Oh my god. My hands are shaking. My palms are sweaty. But holy crap, I have an Infernal Cape. Yes! Second Zuck. 31st attempt. And I got it. 3 days. I went really hard. I basically did it all day, every day. I had some days off, and I went for it. I'll put the full wave on stream, but this was 3 attempts after the last one, and holy shit, I got it. I did not think I would ever get this item. But let's freaking go! Oh my god. Oh. This is like the... I don't want to say the best thing that's happened to me on this game, but holy crap, this is the best thing that's happened to me on this game. It's also like 4 in the morning, so I can't be like super loud. I just wanted to send one more. And I got it. But now is going to be the really fun part, is replacing the Infernal Cape in all my gear tabs. It's there in the tab there, and then I need to go through each one of these, all 8 of them that have the Fire Cape tagged, and add the Infernal into it. Hey, all right, I think I've replaced them all. All of them have the Infernal Cape where the Fire Cape once was. Oh my god, it still hasn't hit me that I actually got this. But let's look at the stat difference between the two. So Fire Cape here provides +4 melee strength, which is essentially a max hit, and then +1 to every accuracy and +11 to every defense. Not too bad on the stats. The Infernal, on the other hand, also provides +3 in the melee attack bonuses, and then +4 additional melee strength. So it's essentially 1 bonus max hit everywhere. Darts-wise, I forget what the starting point was. I think it was either 11.8k or 12.8k. So I used about 3,000 dragon darts here. As for dragon arrows, I had 6,300-ish when we started, and now I'm down to 5,600. So barely used any of the dragon arrows. Kind of makes sense because you're using the pipe the entire time, but you're only using arrows on majors and Jads and Zuck. I went ahead and did some DPS calculations, and it does depend on the NPC, but generally it's about a 5% DPS increase with the Scythe due to getting to a 48 max hit, meaning I actually gained 3 max hits from the Infernal Cape, while for Fang it's about 2% extra due to getting the 1 additional max hit. For an item like the Dragon Hunter Lance or the Arclight, it depends on my other items equipped, as it can be anywhere from 1 to 2 max hits, which makes for about 2 to 3% extra damage. Overall, I'm sure I'll feel the damage increase with everything, but it's going to be very, very noticeable with the Scythe. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Have you done the Inferno? How many attempts did it take you? Let me know down below. But otherwise, have a good day, and I'll catch you in the next one.